What's up, guys? Kanyewest315 here with the first game of the Game of Ghosts tournament. So links are all in the description about this tournament here. Really awesome tournament. First, want to apologize for any misplays I make. Literally haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh in about half a year, including Goats, unfortunately. So it felt good to be playing again, but I gotta say, this was not my best performance. So yes, calm yo titties, please. So we opened up pretty monster heavy here, so not the good one. Little sausage fest in my hand here. I usually just like to use jar when I'm, coming back from behind. You know what I'm saying? Coming back from behind. Or if I have, like a pretty nice spell or trap heavy hand just so I can really get those pluses. So I just set the goats and passed. And then casually just top deck into that pot of greed. You already know how we do. And then at this point, I kind of want to just get rid of the Sangan because it was applying actually a lot of pressure. Like that freaking three-eyed freak had to go, you dig? So I just summoned the Sook to run over it. He was probably expecting a Nobleman, and I was hoping I had a Nobleman, but nah. So, I mean, I just set the book here. Probably should not have set the book in hindsight. Not a huge deal, but I honestly think, I don't know, if I was in my prime, I probably would have just held the Book of Moon there. And he searched the Big Noodle, which is Sinister Serpent. That's what I like to call it, Big Noodle. And then he has the Graceful. And he discards his jar, so there's that. Now he summons the DD Assailant and attacks directly. Definitely didn't want to use my book there because I had to try, but I did want to protect my life points a little bit and summon the Go. Because down the line, life points do matter in Go control for sure. Even the early damages you'll come to realize as you play more Go. So I priority discarded the Air Knight, and then he had the Book of Moon. Yeah, that Assailant was about to run right over my tribe, so I kind of wanted to get rid of it this turn. So I attacked into it. That was the game plan. End of battle phase, he might have had a ring or something, so he's thinking there. So I'm attempting to end the battle phase here. And then he said, okay. So I'm like, oh my god, so sexy. And I discarded the jar here. Now, in hindsight, should I have discarded the jar? I don't know. Probably wasn't the greatest idea, but I wanted to keep both faiths in my hand because I wanted one to resolve because I had a pot of greed in the graveyard. And the more pots you resolve, the higher you get. And the higher you are, the higher chance of winning. You follow my logic there? So, yes. So he tries to run over my tribe with the Tsukiyomi, and I Book of Moon it so I can, get rid of that little bastard. Tsukiyomi down the line can be a total pain in the ass. Although Tsukiyomi is not that great against my hand right now, but I wanted to protect the tribe and kind of, apply some pressure with that tribe. And I set the Magician of Faith and another Book of Moon in case he had a Thousand Eyes or some shit. Because I know he has a Serpent, so he could very likely have a meta. So he MSTs my Book of Moon, which kind of sucks there. So I know some shit was about to go down. Well, I was expecting a Thousand Eyes, but he has a Blade Knight. So really good for him there. Gets rid of my Magician of Faith at pretty much no cost at all. And yeah, I didn't even have to waste like a Nobleman or anything on it, so that's pretty dank for him. And then I draw into the Dust Tornado, a little redundant there. So right here, I had two choices. I could have flipped the tribe and then discarded probably a Heavy Storm. But I decided to go this route, which in hindsight, I don't know if this was the better choice because if I just flipped the tribe and he ringed there, I could just summon Tsukiyomi and then run over it and not have to waste the Heavy Storm. So that probably would have been the better case there. But I did get to save the tribe at least. But he has another Tsukiyomi, so he can just attack over it right there. So unfortunately, I have to say bye-bye to the virus. Gotta give props to my man Tsukiyomi here. Essentially just discovered the cure for AIDS right there. So, yes. Draw into the Call of the Haunted. And, I mean, at this point, I just set the Faith and the Call. And hopefully I can resolve that Faith and get back the pot. But was not really expecting it to resolve. I mean, he has a lot of resources there. And he has the meta. And he can swallow the Magician of Faith right up. No hesitation. And I have nothing I can do about that. Now, I do have an out to it because I have the Tsukiyomi and also a Call the Haunted for the tribe. But we go with the Tsukiyomi at first. And he has the Mirror Force, which kind of sucks. And then here I dust. Really, I'm not a fan of blind spacing. So I just dust there because there's just one left. And I really wanted this Air Knight to go through. Pretty good to get to draw a card there. Drew into Sangan. And got a meta as well, so That's really good, so I can get my Sinister with the Sangan and have a Thousand Eyes play. And he does have the Sook with the Nobleman there. Then I draw into Delinquent Duo. Normally this would be pretty good, but he does have the Sinister in hand, so it's pretty dead. So just summon the Sangan there and swing for 1k to the asshole. So sexy. I just set the Delinquent Duo as a bluff. So my opponent just sets a card and passes. And then I draw into the Sinister, so guess I really don't need to retrieve that with the Three-Eyed Freak at this point. Was really considering going to Thousand Eyes at this point, but I did want a Tsukiyomi play with the Thousand Eyes. And I also considered that set card being just a Sinister Serpent. So I really just attacked into the face down there. It was kind of a risky play, but it turned out just to be a DD Warrior. And didn't really have to waste my Thousand Eyes there. So now my opponent activates his Delinquent Duo. I guess there's no way of him knowing I had a Sinister Serpent. But he summons his Serpent, attacks my token, and I draw into the Air Knight. So I just summoned the Sinister Serpent here. I don't attack because if I attack, he gets to add it back to his hand, and then my Delinquent Duo is going to be even more dead. So got the Clash of the Noodles right there. Both of them go to the grave, unfortunately. Unfortunately, my Noodle is not superior to his, which is debatable, but in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, they are more or less the same shrimp of a 300 attack Noodle. But yeah, my turn to set the Merchant. Hopefully I can dig into like a Graceful Charity or something. That would be absolutely bodacious. You already know. He has the Faith, so that kind of sucks. But he gets the Nobleman, so that's perfect. And he has a Tsukiyomi, so it's going straight downhill for your boy. So definitely doesn't look like I'm winning this one. That Merchant was my one hope there. Let's see if he opts to attack here with the Tsukiyomi. Let's see how risky my boy is. Although, I mean, it's kind of obvious my back row is nothing. That Delinquent Duo has just been chilling there for so long. And then my opponent asked to see my deck, so I have to show it to him, you know, because it's literally written in Nobleman of Crossout, like the text. So he gets some valuable knowledge of, you know, what I don't have in my hand. And I get to see his deck as well, so that's great. He does not have BLS. I remember keeping note of that one. And then I draw into Nobleman. Pretty good right there, pretty good top deck, but still looking bleak for your boy. Just have a Sinister and dead Air Knight and a dead freaking Delinquent Duo, so not looking too bodacious there. And then he summons his Breaker to get rid of my Delinquent Duo. Not a huge deal, TBH, but he also has the Pot of Greed, really sealing the deal there. This is really an uphill battle at this point. But I draw into the Graceful Charity, which is absolutely amazing. So this is my gift from the gods right here. And pretty good draws, so it's pretty obvious what you discard here. And I just set the DD Warrior and the Torrential Tribute. And then he tributes for Air Knight, and I was considering torrentialing here, but if you think about it, the main difference here is I get to keep my Torrential Tribute, and I just have to take 300 damage, because I lose one card, and he also negs one from this play. So overall, we're pretty much even. If I torrential there, I would lose my torrential, and then the outcome in terms of card advantage would be exactly the same. My opponent here just goes on field day and just sets everything, and I guess he doesn't have to fear my Heavy Storm at all at this point. And I draw into Spirit Reaper. I'm running Spirit Reaper because this is no Exarian Goats. Usually I do run Exarian, but for the tournament, Exarian is not legal, so I figured Spirit Reaper would be a decent card there. And then I just go and swing, and then he has the Sakuretsu armor. So I still have that Thousand Eyes play in my hand, and that Torrential set. And then he activates the Prima, bring back his Double Dick Assailant. So Double Dick to the face does not feel good. Does not feel good, I'll tell you that much. I did consider torrentialing it, but I thought I could just Thousand Eyes it up. Although he does have like a freaking army of back row, I wanted something with a beat stick that could just, you know, put some pressure. But he does have the Book of Moon there. So I'm just hoping that he would summon another card here. And boom, I get Big Daddy. Is Big Daddy. Big Daddy comes out, and then now's a perfect time to torrential. And then he summons his Sinister Serpent. And unfortunately, he has the Call of the Haunted, and that's the game. That's game. So game 2, I start off again, and I open with 6 cards. 6 Yu-Gi-Oh cards to be exact. Some valuable insight there. And then I set the Sakuretsu armor and call it a day. Hopefully he doesn't have a breaker. I would just get absolutely freaking screwed by that. But he does have the Sangan, and freaking Sangan harassing me once again. Main phase 2, he activates his Pot of Greed. Personally, I would have activated it main phase 1. I guess from my opponent's standpoint, he wanted to be able to, search with Sangan and then, deck thin a little bit and then draw 2 cards. In case I, for whatever reason, torrentialed or Sakuretsu or ringed the Sangan, which I definitely wouldn't in this scenario, but in case I did. But personally, I like to see my unknowns first so I know what to search with the Sangan if the Sangan does get destroyed. So that's why I would have activated Pot first. But anyways, I summoned the Tribe Infecting Virus, just get rid of the Sangan right there. Really didn't want to summon the Tribe there, but there was literally no way of me getting over that Sangan, to be honest. Like, that Sangan would have put in some real work if I didn't get rid of it. I didn't want to waste a Sakuretsu on it, so basically discarding the Sinister is just a free 1600 damage there and to get rid of the Sangan. And then he sets a card. So with the Sangan, he searched the Magician of Faith. And I do have a Nobleman, but I honestly was playing some mind games here, and I thought it definitely was not a Magician of Faith. I thought with such a full hand, I thought he would, save the Magician of Faith and bait out a Nobleman. So I just attacked into the face down, and it was a DD Warrior. So it was not a Faith there, so it was a good call for me to not Nobleman that. I really don't want him to start resolving his pots and, start going downhill for me. And my hand wasn't looking too great, so I set the Sinister Serpent, hopefully so I could tribute for Air Knight, which is what does happen, so that worked out for me. And then now I'm thinking that actually might be a Magician of Faith, so I go ahead and Nobleman it, and it was the Faith. So yeah, that was a good read on my part. So now we have to, show each other's decks. I usually never show people my deck. I was just like, yo, my Faith, one of them's in my hand, but I guess for the tournament, we have to really go by the exact text and etc. Which makes sense. You gotta be all official and shit. But I attack into a Sakuretsu, so that kind of sucked. But I mean, that Air Knight was kind of free anyways because I distributed the Sinister, so not too salty about that one. And then he sets 2 and passes. I draw into a Metamorphosis, and then I can add back my Sinister, so I do have a Thousand Eyes play in my hand, which is pretty good. So I don't really have any targets for Faith right now, so I just summon the Sinister Serpent and poke. And now this is where the biggest misplay probably of this whole match. I mean, 100%, I do not understand why I would not torrential here. Like, I am an absolute freaking idiot. Absolute idiot. I want to freaking smack myself. Why did I not torrential there? Like, what was I thinking? I don't know, but that probably just lost me the game. Yeah, I had a freaking torrential, and I just let him just walk all over me with that Nobleman right there. I don't know. I was like, did he not have a torrential? Like, I don't even understand. He had so many cards. Man, that was bad. So here I was considering just flipping the Faith and then grabbing back the Nobleman and then just tributing for Air Knight and attacking. But for some reason, I decided against it. I was pretty sure I just set that Faith so I could tribute for Air Knight. So I don't know what I was thinking here. I just passed. But he set another card, so luckily for me. And then I drew into the Tsukiyomi. So that's really, really good there. So at this point, I have a Heavy Storm, so I can kind of go for a push here. And I hit a Ring and a Mirror Force, so that's really good. And I flip the Magician of Faith, add back the Heavy Storm. Now, I was thinking he already used one of his Noblemans, so the chance of the Nobleman wasn't too large. So I go for the Tsukiyomi play here instead of the Air Knight, because I have a Mirror Force set, so that I can, protect the Faith, and then next turn I can get the Nobleman back and then tribute for Air Knight. That was the dream. But he has the second Nobleman, unfortunately. But he just sets a card and passes, and I draw into the Scapegoats, which is actually really good because I have the meta and the Tsukiyomi, so pretty stacked up there, pretty stacked up. On my opponent's turn, he will go ahead and just set a card. And on my turn, I draw into the very bodacious Morphing Jar. Now, probably not the best time to set this right now, so I just pass. Now, gotta love my boy Morphing Jar, flexing with his gold on his teeth. So, but yes, well, some people might say it's grime. Could be grime. But I like to perceive Morphing Jar as having grills and just straight just ball in, you dig? So, but yes, anyways, I draw into the Call of the Haunted, set that. I kind of have like a reactive field right here, so I was just waiting for my opponent to do something because I have the Scapegoats with the meta, with the Sook, and a Torrential. So I was just like waiting for him to commit something to the board. So my opponent activates the Graceful Charity, discarding the Mobius. Very interesting. He sided in Mobius there, and the meta. And then he sets a card and passes. Now, both Faiths are gone, so I just thought it wasn't really needed for me to waste the Metamorphosis on that face down. And on my turn, I pick up a Snatch Steal, Mr. Steal Yo Girl. I just activate the Call of the Haunted, pretty much my only aggressive play right here, without having to, react to my opponent. And then he activates the Dust Tornado on the attack. A little risky in case I had Book of Moon. but I guess he wanted me to go into the battle phase first. And at this point, I really didn't want to commit anything further onto the field. I already have a Torrential and a Scapegoat set, but I have 7 cards in hand, so I had to commit one more card to the field. And I chose to hold the Heavy Storm and the meta, so I just set the Snatch Steal. I really wanted to hold the Heavy Storm mainly because I had a BLS in hand, an Air Knight, meta, like that Heavy Storm was going to be like that game shot, so had to hold that very, very powerful card in this situation. So my opponent just flip summons the DD Assailant and goes in for the 1700 straight to the asshole. And at this point, I'm already thinking maybe I have game. Like, he's at 5k and I have so many powerful cards right now. So I just go for the Scapegoat. And I have a play in mind where I could go for a game shot. So let's see what the hell happened. So he sets a card and passes. And on my turn, I pick up a Sakuretsu armor. But the main thing is I do have game right here. So I was just trying to go for game, so I went for the Thousand Eyes play to try to suck up the face down. Now, going for game shots and go control in general is usually pretty risky because if they fail, you usually lose. But in this case, I figured he only had 2 set cards, and I had just so many good resources that I could actually just afford to go for the game shot here. So he did book a moon, my Thousand Eyes, but I tribute for the Air Knight. And there were just so little amount of cards he could have had to actually save him from game here that I just said, screw it, just go for it. So I summoned Big Daddy, summon Air Knight, and then I go for the Snatch Steal to basically just go for game here. Definitely have game. So the only card that could stop me was, it was Tsukiyomi. I did not think he would have set Tsukiyomi there, but my boy set his Tsukiyomi, and because of that, I was not able to go for game. So I was 300 off because he had that Tsukiyomi. And literally any other set card would have been game. So yeah, and I basically played myself at this point. Like I said, game shots are risky. So now is his turn to basically push back with a full hand of resources. And it's very, very tough for me to come back now. So that was basically all or nothing. Yeah, basically now he has his Snatch Steal, Mr. Steal Yo Girl. Or should I say steal yo big daddy do make it so sad, so sad. Almost said sexy there, but no, this is not sexy at all. This is so depressing. So depressing. So he removes my Air Knight and then goes for the Gatling Dragon. I'm hoping he hits all 3 heads, so that way he has to destroy one of his monsters. And yeah, I did have the Heavy Storm in hand, so if he would have kept that BLS on the field, it would have been pretty good for me. So good call on his part to summon the Gatling Dragon, but fortunately for me, he actually did hit 3 heads, so he had to get rid of the DD Assailant. And he sets a card, and on my turn, I pick up a Dust Tornado. So I just set the Dust Tornado and set the Sakuretsu armor. Hopefully, he will not hit the freaking Sakuretsu armor here. And I don't say anything else because Gatling Dragon can just pretty much just pop it. Unless he's super unlucky. And then he blind spaces and hits my Sakuretsu armor. I was so salty at this point. Oh my freaking god. So, if he hit my Dust Tornado, that would have been amazing. But it's so unfortunate. And I was thinking about chaining my Dust Tornado so I can set the Heavy Storm. But I really wanted to keep the Morphing Jar. That was more important than the Heavy Storm at this point. So I didn't chain my Dust Tornado there. And he summons the Tribe Infecting Virus. And it pretty much just goes straight downhill from here. I mean, I don't even know why I could top deck at this point, since he has both a Virus and a Gatling Dragon. Like, I can't even set anything and live, because I only have 200 life points left. God damn, I wish I had an Ukazi or something. He was at 3 freaking hundred. But yeah, pretty much it's a wrap. I set the Morphing Jar just in case, but it's pretty much over. He activates Gatling Dragon's effect. I mean, if he hit 3 heads there, I would have been lit, but nope, he hits 2 heads and then attacks for game. So GG. So that's it for match number 1 of the Game of Goats tournament. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this match, and peace!